Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about medical astrology and Chiron. Now, Chiron can be, it can be about emotional suffering, but it can also be about physical wounds. And the thing is, the sign that Chiron is in may show possible physical debilitations connected with the sign. Now, say, for example, somebody has Chiron in Aquarius. It could be physical debilitations connected with the ankles, the shins, calves, lower legs, fibula. I have my Chiron in Aries, and I may have more frequent headaches than the average person. I've had facial injuries. I had been bit one time in my face, and I've had injuries to the head. This is, Chiron, though an asteroid, is still something that has significance in the chart. There's a lot of people, skeptics and cynics out there that may dismiss it, and they don't think it's really that important. But some of you may have remembered it was, as Heather Locklear, actress Heather Locklear. Some of you may remember it was some time ago. I don't remember exactly when, a year or two ago or so. There was some talk she had been contemplating shooting herself, or she had a gun or something. And at the time, transit Chiron was not far from her ascendant, which is the physical body. Chiron, being an Aries, it's very volatile, and also Aries can be associated with gunfire and guns, so it does have a significance in a chart. People have to be careful when transit Chiron is by their sun, their ascendant, or their Mars, or if they have a transit, say from the sun or Mars to their natal Chiron, there could be a greater propensity for physical injuries. Now, or even the transit, anyway. Now, aspects in one's natal chart that involve Chiron may play a role in physical health related issues. Now, let's say you have, for example, if you have Mars making an adverse aspect to your Chiron in your natal chart, there might be physical and more susceptibility to physical injuries that could be attributed to accidents, because Chiron could be about physical wounds. It can be about injuries, and Mars, of course, is the planet associated with accidents. Now, let's take, for example, let's say somebody has their Mars in Pisces squaring their Chiron in Gemini. Well, you're talking about possible accidents, which is Mars, that might be chemical related, like a chemical spill, that may cause injury to the arms, the hands, the fingers, the shoulders, which could be Chiron in Gemini. So that is one example that that may that's how it could manifest and pan out, and if somebody has that natal aspect. Now, it's also it's important to look at the house that Chiron falls in, because that could be significant as well, because that could be the sector of life where you could be really feeling perhaps that suffering from something physical. Some of you may have heard of renowned, former mixed martial artist, pro wrestler Ronda Rousey has her Chiron in Gemini, conjunct her ascendant in her first house in her natal chart. Now, in early childhood, which of course that's the first house, the first house is connected with the early childhood. Ronda Rousey had experienced some speech problems, and of course that could be associated with Gemini, Chiron in Gemini, and had difficulty not being able to articulate coherent or understandable sentences. She had something called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, apraxia, which is a disorder associated with sound in speech. So that is how that manifested, perhaps, and panned out with her. I have Chiron, my natal Chiron in Aries, in my case, is in my 12th house. So for me, it could be very combative situations, contentious situations, or I should say physical injuries connected with the face and the head due to maybe perhaps confrontations might be tied in with 12th house matters, secret sorrows, though that is one way that perhaps it manifested in my case. Now, another thing people have to keep in mind too is that transits that involve Chiron, whether it's transit Chiron to points in your chart or astrological transits contacting your natal Chiron, they could figure prominently often in injuries and health-related matters. Now, on October, I know it was October of 1999. I think it was October 26, 1999. Adrienne Fields, you may have heard of her. She was on some show on investigation discovery. I think it was one of your worst nightmare episodes, and she had predicted that a notorious stalker in the area, was going to come and attack her, and she had moved. And she was very prophetic. It actually did transpire. And on that day, on October, I believe again, I'm not 100%, it was the 26th, I believe it was the 26th of October, 1999, she was attacked by that stalker. And at that time, transit Jupiter and Aries made a loose conjunction to her natal Chiron in Aries. And when I saw as far as the episode goes, it looked like she did suffer bruises to her face. Of course, Aries can be associated with the head and the face, and it could also be connected with something of a sexual nature. Aries, of course, is ruled by Mars, and Aries along with Scorpio are the two signs associated, strongly connected with sex, because it is Mars related. I understand Taurus is more, being ruled by Venus is more sensual sex, but you have the Aries, is more, it can be more of an aggressive nature, and this person did attack her at this time, and transit Jupiter was at 29 degrees Aries. You're talking about that full culmination. What I see is the full culmination of volatile, truculent energy at this time. Now, it's also important to look at synastry aspects in one's chart. This could indicate at times where you could experience perhaps injuries, wounds from someone else to you. If you have, say, if someone's Chiron conjuncts your ascendant, that could be a greater propensity for receiving wounds by that person. I knew somebody I had known at one time had told me something that she had gotten physically hit by, physically assaulted by a family member on a number of occasions. And when I looked, sure enough, his Chiron was made a conjunction to her ascendant. So I wasn't really shocked by that. If, let's say, for example, somebody's Chiron in Taurus is on another person's ascendant, that Chiron person may do something as far as inflicting harm physically to the person's throat or neck area. I would say the jugular vein could be another possibility. If this is a situation where this person is really, very, the Chiron person is very truculent or volatile in isolated cases. But I would say more it's the neck and throat area. But the thing is, another thing too, though, but at the same time, that Chiron person at times could actually be a healer to the ascendant person, because the Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron can be, about inflicting wounds. It can, but also Chiron energy could be about healing. So let's say, in another example in synastry, say somebody's Chiron in Pisces conjuncts another person's ascendant. That Chiron person may be like a foot, toe healer. For that person, might be some kind of physician for that, for the ascendant person, or maybe even an alcohol or drug counselor for the ascendant person. So, and also too, the ascendant, you're talking about, let's say another example with Chiron's conjuncts one person's ascendant or even Sun or Mars, that Chiron person could be an energy drainer to that ascendant person, because remember, or Sun or Mars, because the ascendant, Sun, and Mars in astrology can be associated with a person's energy and vitality, and Chiron may cause, quote, wounds, unquote, to that person. So those are some ways that this, as far as their energy level or vitality, but it could also be a healer in terms of the energy and vitality level for that individual. A Chiron, of course, seems to be very extreme. It can go either way in synastry, and a lot of it can be predicated on other synastry aspects in one's chart. And if the overall synastry looks more auspicious and favorable, the Chiron person is, I would say, has a better chance of being more of a healer than doing something to the other person's detriment. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard say, stay well.